All right, we are now live. Thank you for joining in and being a part of this interview that we are about to have. As you know, my name is Marcus Gentry, known as Dr. Respect because I teach a philosophy of respect that helps people get the best out of life by using four guiding principles: the principle of self, principle of others, principle of our environment, and respect for uh, the process. So respect for self, respect for others, respect for environment, respect for process. This series of interviews is about promoting the mission that I believe in, what's important, which is giving people a platform because everybody has a story to tell. So I look to interview people that I've met along the way, people who are making a difference with their music, with their messages, with their poetry, just with their everyday existence. Just giving them an opportunity to share what their story is. So if you like what you're experiencing, click like, click share, pass this on to someone else so that they can benefit from that. Getting right into this particular interview, the young man that I have on stage, I had the pleasure of meeting him when I was doing a production at SWIC at Southwestern Illinois College. And someone told me that he was there. They introduced me to him. We had a chance to meet, had a great conversation, and we talked again after that. And then we decided to have an interview and share some of our conversation with some other folks that might find some value in the conversation. So let me just turn right in. Welcome. Thank you. Brother Jeremiah. Jeremiah Mathis, by the way, is the name of the young man who's with us. Tell us just a little bit about who you are, and then we'll get into the theme of this show, which is the shoulders we stand on. So tell me a little bit about who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Jeremiah Mathis, and I'm a freshman at Southwestern Illinois College, and I'm majoring in secondary education. And I'm also the CEO of the Black Youth League organization for promoting young excellence and leadership. So, pretty much just, well, I'm a podcaster too, so I can say that.
Ah,
But I
okay.
need to, I need to stay more consistent in that. But so far, I've been getting a lot of feedback from the past uh,
Oh, that's good. That's
episode.
good. What's the name of your podcast?
It's the Jeremiah Mathis podcast.
Very
Yep.
good. Very
Yep.
simple to the point.
Right.
You can't go wrong with that. Very,
Right. Right.
very good. Very good. So thank you for that. It was great meeting you, and I'm just glad we're having a chance to talk here publicly and reconnect. So um, we all come from two sides, a mother and father, different sides of the family, and that's the shoulders that we all stand on, and
Right.
generations before and before and before that. Um, but one of the sides of your family has gained more public attention than the other side. Tell us a little bit. I believe.
Right.
tell,
Yeah, you're right.
tell
Right.
us a little bit about one of the sides of the family and the shoulders that you stand on, if you will.
Sure that I stand on. Yeah, it's my dad's side.
Okay.
And I think people get tired of me bragging that, I brag about my father's side a lot. But the shoulders that I stand on my father's side is coming especially from my great grandmother, who was a Spelman graduate of 1922. And her activism and leadership that she did for her community back then, and not even that, being, coming from a known civil rights activist, it kind of put me in a position where I have to carry myself a certain way and either continue that work, you know, from what they did, or or use that inspiration that they had to, continue my activism, and just I don't know. It's a lot I could say.
Okay. Well, we'll give
Cause
you an
it's
opportunity to say some of it.
oh yeah.
Well, so far you haven't actually said the person's name. Whose name?
Well,
What's the person's name?
it is Coretta Scott King. She is the the main person in my life that made a good impact. And that inspired me um, to inspire others like she did,
Hmm.
and all about togetherness and with black, white, doesn't matter. Just love each other and treat each other all equal. So I Coretta, which is my second cousin, of course, has laid the foundation for the family and for me
Okay.
to continue her work. Yeah.
Tell me, please, what is your first memories of hearing of who she is, Coretta Scott King? Because all of us know of the stories that we've been told and what we've heard. As a matter of fact, one of the things that triggered your interest and curiosity, I might say, was the fact that during my production of I Have a Dream of King's Journey, I happened to mention her father, which is Obadiah. So you can tell me about him as well, but what is your first memories that you have of hearing of who she was and what she did?
My first memories, are you talking about family wise or just learning?
Yes,
Okay, family wise.
family
My
was.
so my grandmother, will always she before she passed, she lived in Atlanta. So anytime I visited Atlanta, I always saw her. Of course, but she was telling me
And
that
her name?
Jacqueline, her name was Jacqueline, but she was telling me that um, that we have a cousin who has made a great impact in the world, and it's good that you know her. But she was whispering it. I said, okay. And she was saying, it's Coretta. I said, okay. And I didn't know I didn't know whether to believe it or not,
Mhm.
but I did. So I was like, okay, wow. But at the same time, I was about like 7 or 8. I was always a fan of Martin Luther King anyway.
Hmm.
So he was like my number one hero.
Okay.
And, and she was telling me, different stories about how it was that she knew meeting Coretta. Of course, she experienced her more than I did.
Of course.
So, telling me how my great grandmother um, was with her, during the civil rights movement before Martin died and after Martin died. And seeing the family pictures we had, it was just mind blowing because like wow, I'm related to this lady I've been hearing my class talk about for years, and I come from that, So
You actually come
it
from
was it was it was pretty interesting.
when it really dawned on you. So you're saying you were about 6 or 7 years old when you first heard it kind of whispered to you?
Yeah, and then I was of course giving her obituary as well because my grandmother was at the funeral. So it was that was it was just mind blowing. I still brag about it till today.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember any stories from that was shared with you about her?
About Coretta.
About Coretta, yes.
It was just well, I can say my great aunt was telling me that anytime when Coretta came in town
Mhm.
down in Mobile, Alabama, she was just so open and was just always interested to know who her family was. She always loved to take pictures with her cousins that she just met that she didn't know about that she had because she had a lot. I mean, it's a lot of us. But Coretta I was always told that she was always open minded and very bright when she
Mhm.
came around family, and she um, had you laughing, of course. I
Mm.
was told that. And it's kind of sad that I didn't get a chance to experience that myself,
Yeah,
see how it was.
right.
And especially with Yolanda, because my great
And
aunt.
tell who Yolanda is.
Oh, and Yolanda is Martin Luther King and Coretta's daughter, oldest, firstborn.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Yolanda, I was told that she was very bright and she'll have you laughing in a minute.
It
And
was Yolanda that told you that?
No. My great aunt
Okay.
saying
Okay.
that Yolanda was very
Mm.
uh, that she was filled with laughter, and it's just like hearing those stories just sometimes make me sad because it's like I wish I would have got a chance to meet them, like I said before, and see how it was for myself, to
Right.
experience that.
So you also mentioned, because I spoke about Obadiah. So I don't know if you have that picture available, but you showed me a picture of Coretta and her father. So what do you know of her father, Obadiah? Because as the story goes, and you confirm this, that Martin Luther King and Coretta got married at the home
Hmm.
of Coretta. Um,
Yeah.
so what do you know of Coretta's father?
Obi was
And that's what you all called him.
yeah, we
Oh,
call
oh, that's what he was called. Okay.
well, Obi. But Obi, he, also my great aunt filled me in on a lot when she was telling me that he was very, he was a very not well, he was a quiet man,
Mhm.
but he was also, let's see, he had his own farm, he had his own his little store, little candy store. My great aunt told me that she would skip her, my grandmother, and all them would skip school to go to Obi's store, and he said every time Obi saw them, he would tell them that they need to be in school learning like Coretta and Edith and all them are. So
Mhm.
but Obi was he lived and to see his 97th, 98th birthday,
Mm.
I believe, because he died in the late 90s.
Okay.
But he was a short man. He was short, and he was just all about, you know providing for his children in the best way that he could.
Okay.
And he was a family man, I know that. And he was he kind of put the mark, set the mark for the Scott, for our family, because of Obadiah
Of
and,
what he
and
did.
his
And you
and his
mentioned that he came
household.
from a big family. What was the family that you
Oh
say he
yeah,
came from?
he came from a huge family. There's 25 of them.
Wow.
Five, and I think he's number two, the second, third child. Yeah,
Of 25 siblings,
of 20.
Coretta's grandfather. I'm
Right, right.
Coretta's father
Father,
had
yeah, yeah,
25 siblings.
yeah.
Wow.
But Coretta's grandpa had 25 kids, so it was shocking to me because my great aunt was telling me that she remember it was so many of them that she didn't want to meet them because she'll confuse the names with who's who. But it is a lot, and they all are gone besides one. So
So one of them still alive.
yeah, it's Julie, my cousin Julie. She's my favorite. That's my heart
Okay.
there.
Oh my.
She we talk every day, keep each other laughing. But
Really?
she's the last surviving aunt Coretta have. Yeah,
And where does she live?
she lives in New York.
Oh, she's in New York. Okay. Okay.
She's been there for a long time, but she's the that's all we got.
Okay. Okay. You
So
mentioned something to me once, at least during our early conversation, when you showed me the picture about skin tone and
oh
colors
yeah,
and what people believed. Talk a little bit about that.
yeah. So this is funny because my junior year, my teacher, we was reading this Dear Martin book,
Hmm.
and it was a page in the book that says something about Coretta's skin tone, and it did something to me because I'm like, why are you like putting a label on her when you don't even know it for
Hmm.
for sure? Because I can't remember, but it was either saying that she was either Caucasian or something. But to set that record straight,
Okay.
Coretta's mother was not white.
Okay.
Coretta's mom was very light skinned. because
Mm.
her mom was mixed and her father was mixed as well. So they made their children all look kind of, white looking.
Okay.
But Bernice is African American, so
Okay.
but she is mixed with Irish and all that. But she's still African American.
Okay. So
But it was just, and my teacher was like, "Oh, I always thought her mom was white." I said, "No, I don't know
yes.
where you got that from, but if you do the research, you'll know, you know."
And that's an interesting point, Jeremiah. This thing about doing the research is something because right now people are more interested in getting more information instead of getting accurate information. So
Right,
they'll
right,
take something that they see somewhere and just go running off with it, because it's easier to do than taking the time to dig and actually listen to clarify and hear the stories like that.
right. But just to confirm that Coretta's mom is not white.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that you have heard? So, well, let me ask you this. Did you say anything to the teacher at the time when they said that there's just something you kept inside? Did you actually speak to the teacher? Hey, I know a little something about this.
Oh, I did. I did. I actually confirmed it with her. I showed her pictures, and she was mind blown. So she was like, "Oh, so you're related to the family?" I said, "Yeah." So I was telling her that I didn't. Me personally, I don't appreciate stuff like that when people try to make you white just because of how you look
Yeah.
uh, when you're not. So I kind of just set the record straight that she's not white.
Okay.
And she thanked me for that, for correcting her. And she said if I knew the author of the book, it would have been nice to correct them as well.
Wow.
But
Because this she was reading from a book that
yeah,
actually had this out
yeah,
there. Isn't that
yeah.
something?
We was reading from the book that's called Dear Martin. It's like a teen book
Okay.
uh, about
Okay.
the racial stuff that we were going through.
Right.
Um, yeah, I can't remember the whole description of the book, but that book, learning. I mean, it was okay. And then they even brought in the book that Coretta's first boyfriend was Jewish. I think
Hmm.
people didn't know that she had a boyfriend before Martin
Okay.
that was Jewish. Yeah, yeah, he was Jewish. Yeah,
Oh, okay. And that's an interesting point.
I don't know too much about that, but
Okay. Okay. All right. All
I just
right.
know that he was Jewish.
Okay, all right, that was a bit
Yeah.
before your time.
Oh
Right,
yeah, long
right,
time.
right, right, right. Is there anything else that you wish that people knew? Because you having been around the family and hearing stories firsthand and secondhand
Mhm.
for years, but also public opinion and comments and things like that. Is there anything that you wish people knew or understood more, that they just don't seem to get that you've experienced?
I would say, hmm, she Coretta. Okay, what I think people. This is just me. I'm thinking people don't take her legacy serious
Mm,
because of the the s- the work. I'm not gonna say stuff. The work and the time that she continued for her husband's legacy. For us to have MLK Day,
yeah.
and if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have that or the King Center. You know,
Mm,
she did all of this because she wanted people to remember who her husband was. Even though people said he did this, he did that, he was this, he was that, he was a terrible man, he was this and that. Still, in all, Martin Luther King wanted equality for all,
mhm.
and wanted justice and peace with the whole, race.
Right.
And Coretta's her commitment to nonviolence really played a big part in our family, life. Uh, it's a lot that I could say, um, but not even Coretta herself. More of her daughter, Yolanda,
Mhm. Tell me
continuing
about it.
her father's dream. and she would speak at every engagement, everything she attended and spoke at. She made sure that people knew the actual reason why it's important to, to continue Dr. King's work.
That is such a good point because I had a chance to hear Yolanda speak at a college university here in the Chicago area, and that was what she stressed that has stuck with me since that time. And I think I sometimes speak about that in the production. She says she gets so upset with people talking about celebrating his birthday and
Right,
things like that. They have no idea the principles that he lived by. They
right.
don't know what he sacrificed, what he gave up. They don't know any of the principles and things that he went through. And she said that's frustrating to her, that they celebrate without a conscious understanding or getting clarity about all this behind it. So I've seen her speak, and I've heard her say some of the same things that you're talking about right now.
Yeah, yeah. And then some other stuff people didn't know about Coretta is that she had a sister that died as a baby, because
Mm,
people always thought that Coretta was the only child. Because again, people didn't really talk about her other two siblings that she had, like her brother Obie Leonard Jr. He was a pastor,
mm,
well, a reverend, um, and her sister Edith was a college professor at I hope I'm saying this right, Shaney State University in Pennsylvania.
mm,
Um, she, yeah. Then they had the oldest who died young. Her name was Eunice Scott, and people never knew that Coretta had other siblings because it was never talked about. Not even in books
yeah,
or documentaries, movies. So
you're right.
that's why my organization, we always honor Edith for the work that she did
No kidding.
with her sister during the civil rights movement. Pretty much after when Martin died, that's when Edith took the time to spend more time with her sister, and she didn't really want her to be alone. And
Mm,
but at the same time, Edith wanted her to grieve, but she was always there, you know, taking up the torch and helping with the legacy of Dr. King. So if you can look her up on Wikipedia, Google, YouTube. It got some her son. I can't pronounce his name because he has a weird name.
mm,
I think it's Art. I think it's Arturo, something like that.
okay.
Bagley, and if you go on his YouTube channel, he has a whole uh, documentary thing celebrating his mother, Edith Scott Bagley's, her birthday. So it's like pictures and stuff about her life that I feel like people should watch and learn about. Uh,
Absolutely.
Obi did not have kids. Um, so
That's Coretta's brother.
Coretta's brother, right?
Right.
So there's not too much to be said about him, but me personally, I will be the one to, get all this family stories, gathered up pictures to, display his life as well, because he was the brother to a civil rights icon. So he deserved.
Absolutely.
I feel like me personally, he deserved to be in the spotlight as well.
That is such a powerful. So I've learned something that I didn't know, and I've been
But yeah,
researching this history for decades, and I didn't know that piece. I hadn't even thought about her sister helping to support her after, more so, I guess it would be after uh,
yeah.
her her husband passed. That is really something. So
Uh,
even as we look at that, let me ask you, what would you say is the significance in a person learning their family history and the shoulders that they stand on? Why is that so relevant to know who you came from and where you came from?
Pretty much why it's so relevant to know where you come from,
And especially for you as well.
especially for me. Well, okay. I'm gonna say this. For me,
Hmm.
when I did my research on the my past ancestors, that I
Hmm.
wanted to know their story, the stuff that they went through, excuse me, and it played a big part because if you, I feel like if you know where you come from,
Mhm.
it it's like it's a part of you, you know, and pretty much learning about my ancestors from way back, and including my great grandparents and on back and what they did, that plays a big part in my life. Knowing that my great grandmother was a civil rights activist herself, if it was for me doing the research, I wouldn't know,
Mhm.
and especially cousins who were civil rights leaders themselves. If you want to know that information, to knowing the background that you come from, the legacy your family you have to do the research to know it.
Yeah.
And I feel like to if you want how can I say this? Yeah, if you just want to know where you come from and the shoulders you stand on,
Yeah.
it's best to do the research.
Right. Let me ask you, Jeremiah, what was driving you to do that? Because, like I said earlier, many people, not just young, older as well, many people don't take the time because of being addicted to distractions and
Right.
short attention span. They don't take the time to do the thing. What kept driving you to look further and then turn another page and open another book and ask more questions to the family? What was driving you?
It was just pretty much starting. Um, well, I tried to dive in that on in my mom's side of the family,
Okay.
and it wasn't going anywhere. It seemed like
Oh,
nobody was interested in talking to me, so I stayed focused on my father's side. And I feel like I was using Ancestry, by the
sure.
way. So it was kind of when I started to use Ancestry to track all of this stuff. I spent most of my life in this,
Hmm.
and I don't think people take it serious and know where they come from, because you should want to know your background and the
Sure.
history of your family. So I was 16 years old doing Ancestry, and people were shocked. They was like, "How old are you?" I said, "I'm only 18." 18? You got 10,000 people in your tree, you're only 18 years old? They was like, "I don't see no teenagers this interested." I said, "Well, they're different from me.
Yeah.
I'm interested because I want to know the 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 stuff that my ancestors went through."
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. When people say I'm here because of my ancestors, I'm honoring my ancestors. If you don't know who they are, don't speak on it.
I
until
love
you,
it. I love it.
until you actually know who your ancestors were,
I love it.
then you can say I'm here because of my ancestors.
I love that.
So it's kind of like for me, now that I know who my ancestors are, I can say that. I can just I know the struggles. I got the stories in my tree, stuff I've heard they went through, uh, fighting for their life, trying to protect
Literally.
their children, and back in slavery times, trying to protect their kids from harm's way. So learning the names, the sharing the same birthdays with some, and it's just something that I feel like every teenager should want to know.
Right.
And um, I had a cousin that was paying me to find his family,
Wow.
because of the deep research that I've, digging up for my family. He wanted the same thing for him. But at the same time, I just feel like people, not even teenagers, more of adults that should take that seriously in learning their background, where they come from. Because you'll be surprised. I mean, you might be mad, but at the same time, you know who your ancestors are.
That's so powerful, man. Thank you
Yeah,
for saying that, for
yeah.
for speaking up about that. That is so important. Um, and I want to circle back into the organization that you've started now,
Mhm.
because you are consistently being driven to do more and to help others in following your bloodline and your ancestry to reach out and touch and do. I'm so thankful that you took your time today to spend a few minutes to share with whoever chooses to listen.
Oh
to
yeah, of
to
course,
this
of
this.
course.
I greatly appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your organization, and what it is that you're doing, and where you're going. Maybe next events that you have planned for it.
So yeah, so I am the founder of the Black Youth League for promoting young excellence and leadership. Is we This organization is just to get young African American leaders, poets, writers, singers, activists, and stuff like that, just to for us to meet each other, to know who we are. Okay, this is so and so. They're an activist. They're 18, 16 years old. Yeah, and the thing is, I love community,
Mhm.
and I love the connecting with one another. So we pretty much have events that where we invite youth on, and we have like different discussions, on Zoom, and we talk about different things that's going on out in the world, or um, and we give their well, pretty much we let their voice be heard. But pretty much not getting the attention that they looking for,
Mhm.
or pretty much the support that they're needing and wanting, or whatever. So what we do is we do that. We promote them on our organization page on Instagram, Twitter, and our website, just to give people a glimpse of that the youth, wants to, see a change in the world as well.
Yeah,
And that's pretty much what we do. And of course, every year in July, we always have a commemorative where we commemorate on the life and legacy of Coretta Scott King
mm,
and her work and dedication to Martin's, life. Um, so we invite at least about or six or seven young African American women that are doing something positive in their community or within their school
okay.
or within social media to make a change in the world, and we
Beautiful.
invite them on, and we let them show their gift that God gave them,
Mhm.
so the world can see that this is Black excellence. So
That's outstanding.
that's pretty much what we do. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, we are doing one this year.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this will be the third one that we will be having. Yeah.
Man, congratulations, man. And definitely respect to you for doing that. So if someone wants to find out how they can support, help sponsor or help participate or show up or be considered as one of the, how can someone get in contact with you or your organization, or how do you want them to do that?
They can always text us. I'm not gonna say DM. They can text us on Instagram, of
Okay.
course, and on the profile within Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, we have a link where you can click to email us, just in
And
case.
what is the
Mhm.
link's name, or the Instagram name? What is
Oh,
it?
so the Instagram name is the Black Youth League, and on Twitter, it's the B Youth League. Um, the website is the Black Youth League onuniverse.com. So you go there and visit, and that you'll see everything, like all the contact info, how to get in contact. Um,
Did you say what it was on Facebook as well?
oh yeah, sorry. Facebook is the Black Youth League as well.
The Black Youth League.
So we are trying to expand and growing this year for our next commemoration to invite young Black male, like youth pastors and youth, you know, community activists as well, and singers, of course, and entrepreneurs, young Black entrepreneurs. Not even that, we are opening up to whoever, pretty much no matter the skin tone. We want everyone uh, to be included. So we are expanding this year. I'm grateful for that, and we got a lot of good stuff coming up. So
It sounds like it, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm glad to know you.
yeah,
I've often said, because you are an example of it. I often say that when I go places to present or perform, I always learn more than I share, because there's just so much to learn from everybody when you're a student of life, and you've definitely been a teacher for me, and I've learned so much, and I'm hoping those listening, hope they click like, click share, pass this information on, pass this video on, so other people can hear your message. You're doing some great work. You're doing some great thing. Is there any last thing that you would like to share that you think is important that you want to
yeah.
share before we close this?
I have forgot to mention this. One thing I don't think people knew is that when Coretta was 10 years old, that she had worked for a white cotton farmer at the age of 10. So she picked cotton, she dug long rows with her family, of course. And but I feel like people didn't know that she used to pick cotton,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I feel like that's important that
Why
people
do you
know that
think it's important? I agree, but why do you think it's important?
because people. Well, what I the reason why I think it's important because especially for the black culture and black, for us, it's pretty much that's everything that our grandparents or great grandparents did, and they didn't have a choice. That's how they made their money, and I want people to know that they couldn't wake up and like, okay, I need to go to work. I gotta wear a certain outfit to work, or I was told to wear this outfit. No, they had to put on these, old outfits just to go outside on the farm to work for some money, and it wasn't much.
Right.
And that's why it's important people know that, not even for Coretta, for other family, for other people that did that, and other people, ancestors that went through that. Because my grandfather himself picked cotton,
Yeah.
so in Mississippi. So it's just the fact that people need to understand that that's how it was for us. That's the only way that we made money
Right.
was picking
Right.
cotton.
Right. So
It
now we have
wasn't
some
we didn't
choices.
have we didn't have a lot of sources, a lot of jobs that we have now, and but still no picking cotton. People think that, oh yeah, you made a lot. You picked that much cotton. No, we our ancestors didn't make a lot of money from picking
Right.
cotton, and I
Right.
think people need to know that because not even that. What's so funny is this kid I knew in elementary school. He said the most dumbest thing to me.
What was that?
He said, yeah. He said, my grandma was picking cotton and she made over $100. I said, ain't no way.
Mhm.
We didn't make that much.
Right. Right.
Mind you, it was a lot of them on the field working.
Right.
We didn't make that much.
Right.
Like, yes, she did. She made more money than anybody on the farm. I said, okay.
And so it continues today that people are much more comfortable just repeating something that they heard somewhere or
Oh,
read
yeah.
in a book or
Right.
now on social media somewhere without doing any fact checking or researching to find out what it is or even why it's important. So you
Oh,
stand out, uh, among many in what you're doing, that you've looked back, but not just that you've looked back, because isn't it sad that oftentimes our history is considered entertainment? So people look at historical things, including during this month of the so-called Black History Month, where people look for places to be entertained as
right.
opposed to places to be educated, to
Right.
create a foundation for those who are coming behind them. And so that's what I admire about what you're doing. You're not just looking at something to be able to tell exciting stories on a stage, but you're looking at creating a platform so that you then can leave a legacy for those who come behind you. And I respect you for doing
Right. 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 I appreciate it. Yeah. And it's just, important to talk about the struggles that we went through, that
it. It
our
is.
ancestors went through, and I feel like it's important to know that. That's why I always tweet every once in a while about my second great grandmother. so people can understand the stuff that she went through, what her kids went through,
Mm.
and to me, I feel like people don't take that stuff seriously. It's always good to know your background, but still, now for me, I I I want my children to know
Right.
what our ancestors went through back in those times, and I will continue to brag on it and talk about it until I leave this world.
As well you
It's,
should, and
it's
you're doing a good
important.
job.
Yeah, it's
One, what'd you
important.
say?
No, I'm just saying it's important. So
It,
that's
it
why.
it is
I'm,
important. It is important. One message at a time, one podcast at a time, one
right.
one interview at a time. So man, continue to work, and I give my commitment to you to try to help support, which is what I'm hoping this will do, help support and get messages out so that people can see that the young people are. I mean, when we look at the struggle, young people have always been involved at different levels, and it's still happening today. In different levels and different settings. You're definitely
Right.
one of those.
Right. I appreciate it. Yeah. And before we go, I wanted to show this picture from the obituary that they have here. Is
Oh,
That's
very good.
Coretta and her brother Obi Leonard, and there is Edith.
No kidding.
Yeah. And
Never
then
seen it. And that's
yeah,
from the obituary.
yeah, yeah. And that's
Oh,
the mom and dad.
hold the
Oh,
picture up there real close. That's
yeah.
Coretta's mom and dad.
Yep.
So that's Obadiah. And
And
what's his wife's name?
her name was Bernice too.
Ber-
Bernice.
Okay.
So that's well, yeah, because Obi had a sister named Bernice, and then he married a Bernice, and Obi had a granddaughter named Bernice. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, but that's I had wanted to share that. I don't think I have another. I'll
I'm
just show
glad
you
you
the pictures. Oh yeah, and this one here of her and Yoki. Yep.
Oh, that's Yoki in the middle. Well, on
Uh,
the end.
on the,
Oh, wow. That's a great picture.
yeah.
That was
Uh,
in the obituary?
yes, it is. Yep, it is. Yep.
That is a great picture.
Yeah. This is.
Wow.
I look. I make sure I cherish this. Because
Y-
it's.
Look at that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. And keep it in a safe and secure place.
for sure.
Man,
Yeah.
this has been
Yeah.
so enriching, man. This has been so
Yeah.
enriching.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I did have Martin's. Martin's is somewhere. I don't know where it is. But that's when my great grandmother was able to attend his funeral, 1968.
Your great grandmother was there at the funeral?
Yes, yes, yeah. She sat actually 3 seats behind Coretta's aunt, which was Zimmy. We called her. Her name was Zimmy. Yeah, Zimmy Scott Smith. Yeah.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. So
So
the
so so much to learn. So much to learn. Li-
yeah.
Listen, thank you for this. We will connect again. We'll do something else, and maybe even closer to time for your doing the your event in July. But we'll have something again during that time.
Yeah.
Um, so for those who are listening, this is Jeremiah Mathis sharing some great information here. Um, and just stories of the heart that are so important. Understanding the shoulders that we stand on. Such a powerful message, such a powerful time. The more you know, the more you owe. It's responsible, or we're responsible for passing this message on. Remember to click like and click share for this message if you enjoyed listening to it.
Right. Thank you.
All right.